Rent. Welcome to Give Me Rent. I'm Dylan.
I'm Noah.
Today we got a special episode for you guys. We recently saw Mickey 17. It's Bong Joon Ho's new movie, his first movie after Parasite.
Yeah, and being the follow-up to Parasite, I expected a lot, and I was given a fun movie. It was a good time.
I mean, we both actually read the book by Edward
Yeah.
Ashton.
Yeah.
Mickey 7.
I read the book 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
I recently gave it to you to read before the movie, so it's fresher in your mind.
I read it the week of going into the movie.
Yeah, you finished
so
it the day you saw it.
the story was definitely fresh in my mind. I think Bong
it's super fresh.
I think Bong gave a great adaptation, though. I think
Yeah.
for one, great movie, two, great commentary. I think for his follow-up to Parasite, maybe not as good as Parasite. Parasite was
Nowhere near Parasite.
A clear Best Picture
I
winner.
knew once I finished the book, it wasn't going to be near
Yeah,
Parasite.
and I mean, actually, even when I finished the book, I was kind of asking, like, what does Bong see in this? Like, what is it?
Yeah, no, I was genuinely questioning what he was going to really latch on to, and I think the movie was kind of once I started thinking about it and the themes he was going to kind of try and express and talk about the most, because the book has a lot in it.
There's
It's a
a lot.
short read,
For
but
a
it has a lot.
300-page book, a lot happens.
Yeah, a lot happens. So I was very interested to see what he was going to really focus on, and I think the movie definitely was what I was kind of picturing.
Yeah, I mean,
in
I
some
think,
regards.
I think there was a lot of things that worked in the movie for me. One, namely, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I think that was a fantastic casting.
Well, something the book did pretty well was show. So the movie is about someone who kind of dies for a living. His job
Yes.
is to die, but then when he dies, they reprint a new body for him with the previous memories of his last. So it's essentially like he's continuing, but it's
So he's inherently a very pathetic, tragic character off the bat because he kills himself for a living, you know?
and it's very interesting that he plays both. So the movie follows two versions of his characters. The movie's called Mickey 17. He dies many times, but the movie focuses on two iterations of him, and he plays these two versions very distinctively.
Yeah.
And they're very different characters, and they're the same person. It was very interesting, and the book definitely notes that as well, their differences, and it was cool to see how he definitely.
Well, I
went in
remember
on
you
that
said
pretty
this
well.
was actually one of your most anticipated
no.
movies of the entire year.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time because again,
Yeah.
I read the book 2 years ago. I picked up the
Also,
book.
just right when Bong
once he
Joon Ho
announced that he
announced
was
his
doing
next
it.
movie.
Yeah.
It's it's been on our radar for quite a while.
I mean, Parasite was one of my favorite movies of 2019, and 2019 was an amazing year for film.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the last truly.
I mean, it
great-
was the Best Picture winner, So
Yeah, and it was just. It really is that good. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't.
yeah, for those who haven't seen Parasite, please do yourself a favor and go watch that movie.
I
because-
recommend a lot. I recommend all of his films. I genuinely think.
Yeah, I actually think Bong is one of the most interesting filmmakers.
Yeah, he's one of them.
working
I
today.
genuinely think he's one of the most interesting voices just in film, maybe ever.
Would you say Parasite is your favorite of his movies, or do you think?
I think I would place it with Memories of Murder, but I think it's close. But what's so fascinating about him is that he makes just very different movies.
Yeah.
And he definitely latches on to similar themes in some of these films. I definitely see some leeway from Okja to this film specifically.
I also see themes from a lot of capitalism themes from Parasite.
yeah,
being
even
brought up again,
Snowpiercer
and-
being brought up
Yeah.
in this as well.
I think anything with a capitalism view and
Yeah.
just a view of from the other side, from below, Bong likes. I think that's very
Yeah.
appealing to him.
he definitely latched on to the themes in the story of Mickey
Yeah.
7, Mickey 17 in his version. And yeah, I guess in that regard, it focuses on some things in a larger capacity than the book does, especially with Mark Ruffalo's character being very different and representing the capitalism and the themes there. He's a completely different character in the book, which it's still interesting where he represents a similar idea. But the characterization
I did find it
is
interesting
just
that the
very
movie expands a lot on the capitalistic themes of the novel, but it kind of brushes past a lot of the narrative choices and just kind of what actually is happening in that world.
There's similar stories, but there is some very big changes in them. But I definitely expected a lot of changes to be made.
I'm not even trying. This isn't a diss at the movie because I think very meaningful changes and changes that actually worked for the adaptation to film.
Yeah.
Because-
I think in the end of the day, I'm very pleased with the product because I think I heard there was some problems where maybe how this film tested,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I think.
Well, in no way is this a
definitely-
commercial movie.
Yeah.
I didn't. Right when I was sitting, an hour.
I think a
20 minutes
thought
in,
where I had, towards the end of the film was I can see that how this could test poorly, and that's nothing really against the movie. It's just it's not a commercial film. You're right. I think it was poorly marketed. I think if you've seen the trailer for this movie and you think it looked terrible,
it was poorly marketed. No
it's
doubt.
because the trailers were pretty terrible, and I think it did a disservice to the overall movie. It's weird because the trailers include a lot of the big set pieces from the film in it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sell the movie well at all.
But it was a little clear that the studio did have some confidence in it because it was originally releasing in January, which we all know is kind of the shit month for movies, or at least
well,
people,
at least they had a little bit more confidence in
yeah,
it than to release it in January.
They ended up, releasing it in March, which I think showed that at least the filmmakers and the producers behind it were confident in the product, at least,
Yeah, I mean,
even if it tested poorly.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's Bong Joon Ho. I'm really happy that he got final cut on this because
I'm going to compare it to his other English-speaking movies. I think this is definitely his best English-speaking movie, in my opinion. I think it's better than Snowpiercer.
It's tough. I think
and Okja.
Snowpiercer, I haven't seen it super recently, where it's a toss-up for me. I think
and again, no diss, because I actually like every single one of Bong Joon Ho's movies.
He doesn't have a bad
movie, even though they're,
There's filmography.
And I think it's really interesting that he makes English-speaking movies, considering he's
not
really fluent in English.
Yeah, he's not, and he's directing these movies.
But yeah, I do actually think Mickey 17 was a superior movie to Snowpiercer, which was also a great movie.
I mean, it has, again, Robert Pattinson. The movie's great, but he carries this on his shoulders.
I actually want to talk Robert Pattinson real quick. He has had such a good run of just playing really good characters in the last 10 years. Like, forget about Edward Cullen. I actually think he's played some incredible characters. I'm just going to name a few. Connie Nikas in Good Time.
Yeah.
Incredible character. 2, I'm going to go with the freaking Batman in the Batman. He's actually a great, maybe not the best Bruce Wayne, but he's got some time to work on it.
There's potential there.
But I think excellent Batman. And then another one of fake Winslow in The Lighthouse. I'm forgetting it. You know what I mean, though. His character from The White House
he's great.
The Lighthouse is pretty excellent as well. And then now, I actually think Mickey 17, there's a few more. Mickey 17, Mickey 18 might be my favorite Robert Pattinson performance. It's up there for me.
Well, I think it's very interesting that even like the voices he did he's playing the same person, but each iteration of
he's a great voice actor. I'm also going to bring up the boy in the Heron real quick. Him just playing, the choice to put him as the Heron in that movie was excellent. He's a great voice actor too.
Yeah, he's just talented. That's it.
100%.
He's great in this film.
But I do think his career post Twilight has just been a steady, increase.
Well,
it's crazy.
It's funny where
crazy good roles.
If you look at the trajectory of his career, you just look at just his mentality towards that. He couldn't give less of a shit.
Well, he started in as a great role right off the bat with Cedric Diggory in Goblet of Fire, which is just to this day I actually think he's just great as that character. And I do want to just bring up the fact that he holds his wand like a gun, like an FBI agent, which is awesome. I just think.
Oh yeah, that's just you pointing out something that's great.
I'm just pointing that out to point it out because I think it's great.
If you don't know that, it's good stuff.
It's great stuff, and pretty damn emotional when he actually does die, and my son, my boy.
Spoiler alert: he's the first death in Harry Potter.
He's the first death in the franchise, other than Harry's parents, and I. I think it's actually really well done. He's been a really good actor from the beginning. Twilight was a little bit of a, whatever, but I really do think he's proven himself in especially the last decade.
Yeah, no, it's. I think today he's one of my favorite working actors.
Yeah, and can we please just get the Batman 2 faster? Can it just come out at
the end of the day, though? I mean, if they're going to take their time and give us another movie that's, in my opinion, I think the first one's very.
Well, I got to just imagine that the pressure is so ridiculous because the last sequel Batman movie, I mean, let's forget about Justice League, whatever. In the Nolan trilogy, you go from Batman Begins, which was a great starting off point, much like the Batman that we just got. Then you follow it up with Dark Knight, which is just...
Oh, you're talking about the fact that the last...
I'm just trying to manage what the expectations are for the next Batman movie, which is probably, people want it to see it, they want it to be like the Dark Knight, which is a damn near perfect movie.
And something we've talked about on this channel is just how distinct those movies are, just Batman movies. And it's always a lot of pressure when you're releasing a new film with that character.
But I'm also happy while he's doing Batman, he has the time to work with people like Bong Joon Ho.
Well,
and
that's the thing, and
really
it goes with what you were saying about
Yeah.
the Twilight stuff. It's like he's in these franchises, but he's never. It's always been about the
He's
work.
never let it limit himself at all.
It's always. Been
I
about
don't
the
think
work.
I would never imagine Robert Pattinson signing a 3-year movie contract. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to be bogged down by anything.
Well, I think you see why he did it for the Batman. Just because you watched that first movie, you understand that this is a very
it let him
distinct
explore a
vision, and
lot
it
of different
explores-
avenues as an actor.
Yeah,
which is
it explores
why he did
different
it.
things than the other versions of that character ever did.
Yeah.
And I think he saw something there that it's just a very fascinating take on that character.
Yeah, and he really did a lot for Mickey 17. I just think he really, I mean, he's the lead. You know, he led it well.
No, there is. Listen, the movie.
Not to say that the
is
other
good,
cast
but
members
there
aren't
is no
great
movie
because
without him.
there's no movie without him.
There's no movie without him, and that's because.
But I will say, Stephen Yeun, great in the movie.
They're
Tony
all-
Collette,
everyone showed
great.
up for the movie.
Mark Ruffalo, another over the top but great performance in my
He
opinion.
plays these over the top character. I mean, I think Poor Things right away, but he just.
It's
plays-
Kramer's character in Poor Things, but that wasn't a bad thing
not
in my
even.
opinion.
He just he's very different, ridiculous character. He just is playing these cartoonish, highly exaggerated characters. It's just very. It's a good vehicle for him, I
anything
guess.
can get him away from that whole character because
It's terrible.
I don't really know what they were thinking there. But I mean, back to
Yeah,
Bong.
let's remind people that Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo is actually a good actor.
Yeah, I like that we're getting reminded that he's actually a good actor.
Yeah.
And he's in good movies. Like,
Well, he was in Spotlight, right?
he's in Spotlight. He's in
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind. He's in Poor Things now, and he's in.
He's
Mickey
been in some
17.
good
He's
stuff,
in so many
during
things.
his run in the.
He's not just the
Marvel.
Hulk. He's not the Incredible Hulk. And wait, what was that?
Shutter Island.
And he's also in Shutter Island. That's a great point.
That's a big point. Yeah, that was before his MCU days, though.
Yeah, I mean that's literally pre MCU Ruffalo is Shutter Island and movies like that. Where
No,
he
he's a
genuinely
good
was
actor.
just
He's a good
actor.
presence.
And I just think him being the Hulk might have hindered him a little bit. But luckily, we're seeing him come back. Just
Well, he's another actor.
Slowly
That,
but
yeah,
surely.
he's definitely focused on taking some interesting roles right now, and it was nice to see him take on another.
back to Bong though, because
Go
this
like
was
that.
a 5-year wait for his next movie.
It's really been 5 years since. You
It's
just
been
hit
5
me
years
with that.
since
That's
Parasite.
yeah, almost 6.
Take all the time you need, Bong, because I think you make excellent movies. What do you want to see from him next? Where do you think he can go? Because he's going down all these different lanes, sci-fi, drama.
I definitely want to see him pull back from sci-fi next. I want to see.
I'd love to see him do another monster movie.
I mean, that would be interesting
Just
too.
gonna say
You know, The Host is an interesting film.
I think he looks back on that movie with such fond memories too. Why not? I think he would love to dip his toes in
whatever
that-
he's
that
gonna
genre
make
again.
next. I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I think he's just such a versatile director. Where whatever he's gonna say, it could be the most out there story, unlike anything he's ever done, and I'm still gonna be deeply fascinated in why he wants to tell the story because. In the end of the day, yeah, he tells these stories that have just deeper layers to them. He creates films that demand rewatches, and that's the
Yeah.
best type of movie.
Yeah, especially Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite is, and it's been a minute since I've seen it, and
Especially
now that
me, I speak English, and that's just about it. And it definitely, Parasite warrants a lot of rewatches. You don't get the
well, it's a movie that it's a lot to digest, no matter if you speak the language or not. It's just a lot.
exactly. It's a lot to take in.
It's definitely a very deep story, and I'm interested to see if he can make another film like that. But also, if he wants to go for another sci-fi, go for it.
Me
Again,
too.
I said my favorite film from him is probably Memories of Murder, but Parasite, very close to
I'd
this.
probably have to go with Parasite, but yeah, close second, Memories of Murder. And I just am excited to see whatever he does next. I think, I just anything he does, I'm there for, no doubt.
He also just seems like the best person.
He does seem like a really cool guy as well.
Yeah, it's just I think this pairing of him and Robert Pattinson was great, and I honestly would love to see him come back to make another American film, make another with Rob.
It's
Bring
clear,
Chris Evans in. He
It's
needs
very
some work.
clear now. 3 English speaking movies in, he can do it. He can do it.
Yeah, no, it's clear that I think he is comfortable working in any genre. So I think studios just need to be confident in him. Because going back on what I said, it seemed like Warner's was a little iffy on this film when it tested maybe a little poorly. Yeah. But I think giving him the final cut in the end.
Well,
you
got to remember, even with Parasite, it required a very big campaign to win that Oscar, those Oscars. It wasn't just everyone universally recognized it and knew it was the winner.
Yeah,
it needed to push for that. Not that it didn't deserve it. I think it did. It was the best
Same
picture
thing with
that
Anora
year.
this year.
Yeah, you need to push for these things, but it was still deserved. It was very much deserved. That was the best picture of 2019, Parasite.
Yeah, no, it's one of the best pictures of the last decade.
Last,
it's just not even
of
no
recent
doubt.
memory.
It's just whatever he does next, we're
Yeah.
very excited.
Bong Joon Ho, keep doing what you're doing. That being said, I think that's it for us here. For Gimme Rent, I'm Dylan.
I'm Noah.
See you guys next time.